Good evening. We're in 1 Kings, going to end 1 Kings today in chapters 19, 20, 21, and 22. Yesterday, we had Elijah had this great confrontation with the prophets of Baal on Mount Carmel and was successful. But yet, that made Jezebel mad, and so Jezebel says she's going to kill him, and he gets afraid. Frankly, this is a story that is kind of bizarre, and you think, how could that happen? But it gives me a odd sense of comfort, because sometimes I'm not able to look back and see all the great things the Lord has done, because what happened yesterday, as great as it may be, somehow or another, what faces me tomorrow, that sense of unknown, is very worrisome. But anyway, Elijah is afraid, and so we have this great story of him going down to Mount Horeb. Now, we've mentioned before that Mount Horeb is another name for Mount Sinai, and he ends up in a cave, and in that cave he experiences God. And exactly, the idea is it is most likely the same cave where Moses experienced God, where God put him in the cleft of the rock, remember, and passed by in front of him. And so Elijah finds out down there, when he's in that cave, that he's not the only prophet. He thinks he's the only one left, and he just asks God to take him. He's just depressed. And God says, I still have work for you to do. There's plenty of prophets that are still around. There's plenty of people that have not bowed down to me. And he introduces another name. He says, I want you to go and anoint Elisha to be your successor. So anyway, we're going to see a whole lot about Elisha in the first few chapters of the book of 2 Kings. So anyway, then we have in chapters 20, 21, and 22, we have the story of Ahab, and really we find out just how bad a king Ahab was. We have a story where Ben-Hadad is going to attack Samaria meaning Israel, and attack Ahab. And the Lord says, I'm going to protect you, and he does. But it doesn't stop Ahab from being a bad king. So look at all that interaction and how great a victory that the Lord has over Ben-Hadad. And right after that, you end up with a story about Naboth's vineyard. And Ben-Hadad is just a whiny little, not Ben-Hadad, excuse me, Ahab is just a whiny little king. And he wants his vineyard and he can't have it. And Jezebel demonstrates just how evil she is, so she goes and sets up a plot to have Naboth killed, so that he can, so that the king can have this vineyard, and that causes Ahab to be told that he is going to die this violent death. And then in chapter 22, we basically have the end of Ahab, and we have all these. He has made a pact with the king of Judah, and they're going to go attack Ramoth Gilead, get it back. You're always attacking somebody, getting something back and losing something, that's the way it works. But the king of Judah says, I think we ought to find out whether or not the Lord approves of this. And Ahab has his prophets that are not prophets of the Lord. He says, Jehoshaphat said, I'd like to hear what the Lord has to say about this. And he says, well, there's one guy who's a prophet of the Lord, but he never tells me anything good. And then you have that whole story about Micaiah. And basically what's going to end up happening is that Ahab is going to die. And then it ends with just a brief discussion of Jehoshaphat, who is the son of Asa, and both of them were good kings in in Judah. And we come to the end of 1 Kings. Very interesting stuff. Pretty much all the kings of Israel are bad. They're all worse than their predecessors, and they're all follow along in the pattern laid down by Jeroboam. So hope you enjoy the readings, and we'll talk to you again tomorrow. Thank you.